Our typical conception of envy follows a triangular structure. The 3 points come together as follows: the envious subject or the self, then the coveted object, and finally the envied other or rival. However, in the case of existential envy, the structure of envy shifts from a triadic to a dyadic one. This occurs through the synthesis of the points, the coveted object, and the envied other. Here, the subject targets the rival's entire being rather than one of their possessions, achievements, or talents. This breed of envy typically derives from a belief that the envier is fundamentally lacking or deficient, and the rival encompasses the self-ideal that the envier hopes to attain. This concept is directly linked to an ideal, both that of the envier and the overlapping envied-in object. These ideals are believed to be rooted in fantasy. It is a self-ideal wherein the envier hopes to reach an elevated concept of themselves that is directly related to the existentially envied. Similarly, the fantasy of the envied object is based on a belief that the perception of the rival by the envier is objective and correct, often ignoring the rival's internal conflicts and limits. Desirable traits are brought to the forefront and thought of as representative, as is the case with most envy. Existential envy is associated with strong feelings of inferiority, powerlessness, and despair, even stronger than that of typical envy. The reason being is the inherent personal quality of this type of envy. The rival is chosen by the proximity to the seeker. Proximity is one of the 3 typical indicators found in choosing the rival, along with similarity and relevance to oneself. These build on the aforementioned misery based on the envier's perceived shortcomings. The rival personifies what the envier craves but has failed to obtain. All in all, the similarity to the seeker drives the identification with the rival, and thus, the guiding fiction becomes, it could have or should have been me. Besides the obvious connective thread of existential envy, the characters of Nina Sayers and Megamind are drastically different in personality and in almost every other aspect. However, another similarity between the two may be the pressure to live up to an ideal or standard.
But I'm not. Maestro, audio scoda, please. Now show me your Black Swan, Nina. Not so controlled. Seducers. Not just the prince, but the... Well, good of you to join us.
Sorry.
Girls, this is Lily. Straight off the plane from San Francisco. She's filling Rebecca's old spot.
Hey.
Get warmed up.
No, it's okay. I'm good.
This pressure serves as the primary reason for choosing these 2 in particular, as it exaggerates the symptoms and manifestations of their envy.
Metro Man. Boo! Yes, I can play along too. Boo!
Should have known you'd try to crash the party.
Oh, I intend to do more than crash it. This is a day you and Metrocity shall not soon forget.
It's pronounced Metro City.
Oh, potato, tomato, potato, tomato.
Megamind differs from Nina in the way that he is more flamboyant, boisterous, and attention-seeking. Megamind's inherent expansive energy causes the opinions of others to heavily influence his actions and motivations. He may match her in ambition, but his ambition heavily relies on external validation, rather than any deep-rooted, self-reflected perfectionism. His core childhood wound was his failure to receive distinguished recognition. He desperately wanted to be seen as grand for his gifts, but instead he was excluded, ridiculed, and othered. After this experience, he transformed his desire for praise into a desire for attention in general. Through this cycle of rejection, it can be deduced that the basic desire to be accepted was perverted into an egoistic desire to be praised for his talents. Here, envy can be used as a tool to highlight the subject's insecurities, while offering insight into Megamind's behavior. Megamind's envy is most prominent in his childhood, so this period is crucial for analyzing his tendencies as an envier.
That was the day I met Mr. Goody Two-Shoes. And our glorious rivalry was born.
To begin, Metro Man can be used as an example of how the rival is chosen in existential envy. Their almost identical backgrounds call back to the criteria of similarity, relevance to oneself, and proximity. His similarities to Megamind include his alien status, exceptional abilities, and relevance in the public eye. The notion that it could have been me is represented best through this dynamic. Megamind adheres to the irrational thought that, if what was fundamentally broken about me was repaired, I could become complete as an individual. Although this topic addresses envying the rival in its totality, Metro Man's perceived superiority can be boiled down to his charisma and overall ability to appeal to others. Megamind is conventionally unappealing in both physical and relational contexts. People recoil at the mere sight of him, and each time he attempts to navigate social environments in a genuine human manner, he's seen as a fool. Despite the coveted object here being surface charm, I realized Megamind's foundational drive was never to be liked per se. As much as the initial rejection from society hurt, he would much rather chase applause or praise than fondness. If this statement and Megamind's envy are believed to be fact, then why exactly is the coveted object social appeal? I'd reckon that Megamind envied the way Metro Man leveraged his charm to gain praise for his abilities, while securing a spot at the top of the hierarchy. My point is getting a little bloated, so to condense these points, I'm simply stating that Megamind values both status and the acknowledgement of his genius over a positive image. As Megamind reaches adulthood, his sensitivity to rejection and envy of Metro Man is suppressed and transformed, resulting in the persona we know now. He constructs an identity of someone who rejects the world, both so he cannot be rejected and to avoid dealing with his defining formative hardships. His earlier envy of Metro Man is now a rivalry and a motivational tool. These strategies are used to guard against vulnerability. He chases the aforementioned status and praise in order to ignore his more sensitive desire to connect with others.
If I was only guessing the White Swan should be yours.
Perfectionism in relation to the ego will forever be elusive and strictly an ideal. Nina demonstrates resilience and hard work in her craft, yet she holds such a rigid view of progress that her ambition destroys her. When she fails to achieve the Swan Queen ideal, she demands exacting criticisms, seeing imperfections in her micro-expressions and involuntary movements. The envy of the Black Swan is born from the inability to accept herself as a nuanced individual who isn't meant to fit every role presented to her. Her desire to personify the role represents the absurdity of destroying herself to fit such conceptual standards. Nina's failure to reckon with this fact forms the character-defining envy of Mila Kunis's character, Lily. This dynamic is another example of how existential envy calls back to the insecurities of the envier. The Black Swan, aka Lily, opposes Nina in her methods of her success. Nina believes that only through a lifestyle of severe discipline and abstinence from worldly pleasures can she achieve her desires. On the other hand, Lily is a lax, carefree spirit.
Well, good of you to join us.
Sorry.
Girls, this is Lily. Straight off the plane from San Francisco, she's filling Rebecca's old spot.
Hey.
Get warmed up.
No, it's okay. I'm good.
While Nina carries out a life of physical and emotional inhibition, Lily acts on her desires with little restraint. She scarfs down junk food, displays sexual provocation, and yet she still achieves what Nina perceives as perfection. Nina both thrives on and resents her asceticism. Without it, she'd undoubtedly feel a lack of security and control. However, this excessive moderation comes with the sacrifice of joy. It shapes the very traits she resents within herself and envies Lily for. She's made meek, passive, and timid. As a result, she envies Lily for her boldness, which she lacks in herself. Sometimes envy can be boiled down to an inability to accept one's own limitations. Instead of being content within the inner self as an individual, the subject compares themselves to others. Nina's violent hallucinations demonstrate the desire to destroy the rival in existential envy. The rival's existence itself can bring about feelings of humiliation. For Nina, Lily's presence is unbearable, as it reminds her of her failure.